after a 3-2 Senator victory in a Sunday matinee in the nation's capital. Here are the starting goaltenders for this one. There's 6'7" Matt Sogard from Denmark. He starts for Ottawa, and like Anton Forsberg yesterday, expected to play the entire game. At the other end, Elliott talked about Joseph Woll, who will start 6-1 in 7 regular season games last year, 1-2 in the playoffs. He will play 30 minutes, and then we'll see Martin Jones, one of many of the named free agents that the Leafs have in the lineup. There's John Klingberg, who's in the starting lineup for the Maple Leafs, and free agent signing Vladimir Tarasenko in the Senators starting lineup. Ridley Gregg to start it off. Easton Cowan, the #1 pick for the Maple Leafs in the draft, is out there. Here's Batherson. A quick shot goes high. It's Batherson with Tarasenko and Gregg, and the Leafs starting with their youngster Easton Cowan along with Joseph Blandisi and Ryan Turberg. Tarasenko's got the puck. He flips it in front, and that one deflected by Chychrun wide of the net. As Chychrun moved up, he is playing on the back line along with Thomas Chabot. Now it's Cowan, who will be ticketed for the London Knights. Expected to have a big year there. Klingberg. Off the bench comes Giordano. He slides it through. Marner with the centering pass. Matthews unable to bat that out of midair, and Tyler Bertuzzi's on the ice. Riding shotgun with the dynamic duo of Matthews and Marner. Here's a lead feed for Marner. Unable to get control of that, and Lassie Thompson sends it away. Matthew Joseph to work. Here's Joseph in, and that shot blocked by Rafai. Marshall Rafai takes Joseph to the corner. A shot deflecting high by Kupalik, and out.
Well, Tarasenko in the lineup for his first game as an Ottawa Senator. It's been a pretty seamless move for him coming into Ottawa, although it's his first training camp, not with the St. Louis Blues, in his first preseason game to start with. And there he throws good solid check under the end boards, and that's one of the things. He's a good sized body. He's a thick body. He's able to go into corners, protect pucks, win battles for pucks, and he's got that incredible crazy wrist shot.
6 times a 30-goal scorer, and here's a turnover to Chance, scores! And the only player to be playing in back-to-back games, Roby Järventie, has the icebreaker here at 1:16 of the first period.
Well, they say it takes a few games to get going in the preseason. Well, he's already into his second game. He's the only one off the ice playing in the second game back-to-back. A turnover here, the puck gets dumped up the middle of the ice, unfortunately, and then it's tic-tac-toe for the Senators. Once the puck turns over, everyone's leaving the zone. It's so much the NHL now is below the zone, get moving, and it's the defenseman's responsibility to get that puck moving, and Niemela just doesn't do it, and it ends up in the back of the net.
Couple of years in Belleville for Järventie, and he has the goal that puts Ottawa up early. Jacob Chychrun slowly out of the Ottawa zone. Noah Gregor comes on for Toronto, on a line with Ryan Reeves and David Kampf. It'll be kept in by Chychrun. He'll load it up and can fire. Woll turns that aside. Chabot on the other side, trying to hold the zone. Leafs unable to clear it. Cruikshank taken to the boards, and away with the puck is Niemela. Niemela hands it off, and Nick Robertson goes to work with speed. His first game in 9 months after shoulder surgery, injured in a game in early December last year against the Los Angeles Kings. Trying to glove that puck down. It's pried loose and dumped out by Curry. Here's Klingberg up to Holmberg. Holmberg with Robertson and Nick Abruzzese to start this game for the Maple Leafs. There's a pass on the right side. Defenseman Max Gwinnett is in. He'll play it in behind the net. Demama after it along with Curry. He'll flip it to Pilon. Garrett Pilon, the son of former New York Islander defenseman Rich Pilon. Loose for McCabe, who is paired up with Klingberg, and the Leafs get organized to move it ahead. It'll be bumped back by Abruzzese as the Leafs are changing, and Bertuzzi comes on. Here's Tyler Bertuzzi at a terrific opening round against the Florida Panthers, although it ends in a 7-game loss by the Bruins. But He had 5 goals in that series. And it looks like he's got a spot on a pretty good line to start his Leaf career.
Well, he's one of those guys, he's an energy guy. He'll dust up pucks out of the corners. I think he's a nice fit with Marner and Matthews. And you have to find chemistry, though. You can, you know, on paper, it can all look good. But you've got to find a way with those guys to figure it out. Like last night, we saw Nylander and Domi. They looked like they were developing chemistry. And for Bertuzzi, it'll be the same thing.
He'll chase after it as Chychrun moves the puck, whipped across the front of the Ottawa net, and now Shabbat ahead. That pass field to click for Kubalik. Kubalik coming over in the Alex DeBrincat deal. Torborg couldn't reach that, tries to get it back, but Ottawa will get control. So they had Tarasenko and then get Kubalik, who has been a 30-goal scorer, so that should make up for the difference of losing a good goal scorer like DeBrincat.
Well, you think Tarasenko
losing a good goal scorer like DeBrincat.
Well, you think Tarasenko would kind of even that out on his own. You would think that. You know, Kubalik's a nice addition, but at the end of the day, CC, we were talking about this. They're right up against the cap. They don't have enough money to sign Pinto right now, so there's got to be some moves coming before the season starts.
Here's Gannett shooting it. That's knocked down and a lead feed. Here's Cowan with the break. Easton Cowan stopped. Penalty coming up, and it's going to be a penalty shot for the youngster. 18 years of age. 6 points in the rookie tournament to lead the Leafs. And what a moment for him, not even 5 minutes into his first game at Scotiabank.
Nice job by the Leafs on the quick transition. There's a turnover here. A shot to the net gets blocked by Blandisi. He spots Cowan, who turns up ice right away. And there you see the hook into the arms. Coming in right here, right across the body, right there. And Hamara gets him. And he goes down. He still gets a shot off, but it doesn't matter anymore.
So it's Easton Cowan against Matt Sogard as the youngster looks to tie it for the Maple Leafs. And stopped on a right pad save by Sogard.
Cowan looks like he goes to the exact same spot he did on the breakaway. He tries to go low stick side. And we know Sogard's such a big guy, and those are big flippers he's got down on the ice. He almost baited him. He gave him a little shoulder shrug as he got to the hash marks, and Sogard looked like he was going to bite on it, but he didn't. He was patient, looked like he was going to drop right there, but he didn't, and he outweighted him, and that's a good right leg save.
Surprised many when the Leafs picked him, number 28 in the draft, but finished strong in London, and after the rookie camp, nobody expressing the same amount of surprise at him going into the opening round. Here's Drager on the ice along with Reeves and Kemp. Ford battle, Reeves trying to dig it out of there. And now flipped away. Mark Giordano back in his own zone. Mikko Kokkonen paired with Giordano and up ahead to the former San Jose Shark Drager. He'll roll it through and crash in on the forecheck. Lassie Thompson fanned on his first pass and now moves it ahead to Curry, who played the last 2 years in the KHL. Around it goes and Pilon picks it up. It'll be Lassie Thompson shooting it wide. Jacob Larson far side fires it high. Around for Thompson. Pass in the slot picked off and back the other way goes Holmberg. He'll chip it in and go after it, but Larson up with the puck for Ottawa.
We did the game yesterday afternoon, CC, and there's more pace here already. I see more pace in this game. Now, can they keep it up in a lot of these guys' first game? But there's a little more pace in this one early on.
Here's Ottawa playing it ahead. Batherson stopped up by Marner. It'll come loose. Side of the net to Drake Batherson. Feeds the point. Chychrun across and Shabbat fans on the one-timer. And Marner hands it off to Klingberg. Into the middle. Holmberg still out on the ice trying to get off and allow Austin Matthews to get on. Here's Shabbat on the right side. And that's been a talking point in Ottawa. Chychrun and Shabbat switching sides. Loose puck, and there's Järventie on it again, looking to center it. It'll come back to Thompson, firing it, scores! Lassie Thompson with the shot. Did Kubalik get a touch? It's 2-0 Ottawa.
Well, I think you're right, CC. I think Kubalik gets this one. Lassie Thompson can really bring it. He's got a real heater as a slapper, but this wasn't a slapper. Yarventi throws this out to Joseph. He pushes it back to Lassie Thompson, and it's just a simple wrist shot through traffic, and you've got some traffic in front. Kubalik is in the right place. And yesterday afternoon, we saw like 3 of the 5 goals that were scored were all part to having a guy camped out right in front of the net. There's no way that Wall sees this puck. There's just no chance. The size of Kubalik standing in front of him, that's a nice job being in the right place, and he gets rewarded for it.
20 goals last year. He had 30 in a rookie season in Chicago, and he was all rookie that year. So at 6:38, Kubalik from Thompson, and it's 2-0 for the visitors.
Well, same as yesterday afternoon. The Leafs get behind early, and then they kind of get going, and Senators jumping out to 2-0 already. You mentioned Shabbat and Chychrun. They're on different sides even during the shift. They're shifting from left to right all the time.
Pass for Bertuzzi doesn't work, and back the other way comes Cruikshank. He'll flip it in deep. After it is Ostapchuk. Leafs come up with it, and Niemela onto the left side. It's too far for Cowan, and that's icing against Toronto.
And you want guys to have, set positions to start with, right? But if you're a guy like Chychrun and Shabbat, and your left-hand shots, and you both can play a bit of the right, and you're good on the left, you'll probably say to each other, listen, if we get crossed up, we get on the wrong side, just stay there. You don't have to try to get back over. Just stay on that side. We'll figure it all out when we can, but there's no rush because we're comfortable on both sides, and those 2 veteran players will figure it out.
Jack Capuano yesterday talked about how much focus there is on getting more offense from the defenseman. 4-man in a rush constantly, and Chychrun and Shabbat, 2 of the best in that department. Here's Reinhardt. His pass knocked down by Niemela. Back it comes to Gannett. Into the corner it goes, and with it there, Cowan. He got bumped by Reinhardt, but the Leafs will work it ahead, and now it's Marner. Long lead feed just out of the reach of Cowan. He's got to get a shot, and heeled that into the corner. Landisi after it for Toronto. Tried to feed the point, and Klingberg had cheated in, and it slides all the way back into the Toronto zone. A lot of eyes on John Klingberg and what he could provide for Toronto. And again, another offensive defenseman, and John Klingberg, 6 times over 40 points, and 5 times he's been a double-digit goal scorer. And we've got our first penalty and an interference call. The officials, Kendrick Nicholson and Justin Kia.
Intriguing young prospects that the Senators have, and he came from that great 2020 Sens draft that will no doubt be a memorable one for Ottawa fans. Tim Stützle, 3rd overall. Jake Sanderson, there's a reason why they locked him up to an 8-year, $8 million deal. And now Ridley Gregg, who comes in, he added weight. In fact, he came 3rd in the Senators fitness competition coming into training camp, so he is ready to have a big breakout year and push to make the Ottawa Senators big club, guys.
Sanderson last night might have been the best player on the ice. I mean, he was really good in the first preseason game. Stützle was as well, but he looked really good. And Ridley Gregg is going to come into play at some point, whether it's this year at some point. I definitely think he's going to be a factor. Whether it's the start of the year, I don't know. As Elliott said, there's not many spots left on either one of these teams. Maybe a couple of spots. And for a lot of guys, even though they might play well, it's not be the starting point for them.
The Leafs power play, and John Klingberg will quarterback it to start tonight. He's got Marner, Bertuzzi, Matthews, and Nick Robertson will get a look on power play number 1 here in preseason game number 2. Matthews behind the net, gets it to Robertson. Get an early gauge on what Klingberg could bring as played out and back down the ice by Joseph.
And in training camp, oftentimes players will say it's how the table is set for you. And when you see Robertson get a chance to be on this first power play unit in this game, that's setting the table for you. It's giving you opportunity to play with real good players and show your wares, and that's good for Robertson.
Robertson to Matthews, around to the far side. Bertuzzi is there. In for Marner, 99 points last year. Robertson and a poke check there by Sogard, and the Senators clear.
Well, the thing with Klingberg is he brings you a right-hand shot, which is which is something totally different. And coaches love their right-hand shot defenseman for some reason. And a guy who's wired to shoot. He likes to shoot the puck. And that's something where the power play, if you don't have a guy who will shoot it from the point, then the penalty killers know that, and they'll lean towards the half walls, and they'll leave that shooter open.
Here comes Gregor with a burst of speed. Aberzizi into the slot. It's kicked back to Niemela. Now the lone defenseman. Aberzizi down low in front. Scores! Easton Cowan. Power play goal. And the second group looks sharp.
Hey, first group, how about that? A lot of names you might not know, but what a great setup. Quick passing, that's what the power play's all about. Good skating, getting in the end is Gregor, and he has a real big factor in this goal. You know, you got Cowan in the middle in the slot. They're all in the right position, down low, bumping out. Everyone is where they're supposed to be, and the passing is quick, it's sharp. Aberzizi down low, out to the slot, bang, right away into the net. And he's had a couple of looks at Sogard so far, and he finally solves them. And it's 2-1 Sens.
Expecting to see Cowan again on Wednesday. The Leafs in St. Thomas at the Joe Thornton Arena against Buffalo. That's in his backyard. So here's Kubalik trying to jam it in, and Kubalik comes close to his second.
Such an exciting time of year for these young players. It's training camp. It makes no difference. That's a big goal for him.
Easton Cowan on the board.
What a start so far for Easton Cowan, the first-round pick of the Maple Leafs that surprised a lot of people. In fact, Easton Cowan himself said he was kind of shocked when his name was called out. Now, this was back at the draft in Nashville. All the top prospects, they got drafted. They were in the right position to walk that catwalk. Easton Cowan, though, wasn't expected to go in the first round. There was no catwalk for him, but he is catwalking all over the ice so far tonight. And what a moment it has been. Right after the draft here, minutes later, he got a FaceTime from none other former London Knight as well, Mitch Marner. Now, Cowan said he really looks up to Mitch Marner. He's an idol of his, but he models his game after Nazem Kadri and James Van Riemsdyk, and what a start it has been so far for Cowan here tonight, guys.
Well, and those are all guys who operate incredible in tight places inside the hash marks. And that's where he's been around. That's where he scored his goal.
The Leafs have 5 shots in the game. Easton Cowan has 4 of them.
Yep. What a great start for the youngster.
Board battle, the puck comes loose, and out with it comes Drake Batherson. Red line, and he'll fire it around. First man back is McCabe, who overskated the puck. Reeves goes after it. A collision coming there, and Reeves and Larson met there, and there's another good collision between McCabe. And it's getting rough out there as things start to heat up a little bit. Ridley Gregg gets involved, the youngster. Standing up McCabe. Now Niemela in the corner, works it ahead. He gets nailed there by Pilon. The Leafs starting to break out, and it's played by Rafai. That pass doesn't work, and Rafai comes back to just get rid of it in front of the Ottawa bench. Rolled in, and Mama gets a piece of Giordano. Here's Mark Giordano, will be 40 before the regular season begins. And it's Mikko Kokkonen sending it down into the Ottawa zone. Reinhart leads it for Chychrun. Under 8 to go here in the opening period. Puck shot in, and Cole Reinhart after it against Giordano. Giordano sends it ahead. Now Matthews in flight. He'll drop for Marner into the slot, and it was disrupted there as Kokkonen was ready to let it fly. Marner steals, had to hold up there, and Robertson on the limp as he heads to the Leaf bench. Here's Bertuzzi to Marner. Back in for Matthews, and unable to get a shot away as he was met by Thompson. Played to the line. Klingberg will have to regroup at center. Here's Matthews, who starts the season at 299 NHL goals. Pass in front, Matthews there, and it ricocheted off him, and Sogard able to keep that out. Now back in, Matthew Joseph shoots wide. Looks for his own rebound, and a little more physicality in the last few minutes, and maybe more than we saw in Ottawa.
Oh, definitely. There are guys running into guys right now.
Malik hooked it in front. It'll come back to the line. Joseph, quick shot. It was tipped and Wall down to clear that away. Penalty pending here as McCabe after it. And the Senators going to be shorthanded. Leafs with the power play goal, and another man advantage here, looking for the equalizer.
Yeah, it looks like a high stick possibly there, but you look about getting chemistry, and look at Bertuzzi. He gets his head up, and he knows on the first look that Matthews is going to the net, and Lassie Thompson's got to be a little more aware of 34 coming in behind him. And how about a nice play there by Wall, getting that puck out of harm's way with that poke check. And there you see the high stick on McCabe, and the penalty called right there on the Ottawa Senators, as Yarventi with a goal earlier now takes a penalty. And with 6:21 to go here in the first period, the Leafs will have an opportunity to tie this.
Well, Guy Boucher in charge of the power play, and
that's a tough gig. You know, your first 2 years ago, your second last year, and you know, you got to come in and do that and make some changes and try to make it better. And I think Guy Boucher is one of those guys up to the challenge.
Here's Klingberg across. Marner back to Klingberg in the slot for Bertuzzi. Close stop by Sogard.
Molson Leafs hockey on Sportsnet. Brought to you by Molson. Whether it's Canadian, Ultra, Export, or Excel, there's a Molson with your name on it.
If Klingberg had been here for 3 years, he'd have ripped that puck. He would have ripped it. Instead, you know, you're new on a team, he's making passes. He is a shooter. I was surprised he didn't unload that.
Got it to Matthews in the slot, and Robertson let that fly. Sogard with the stop, so good to see Robertson. Didn't miss a shift, looked a little uncomfortable heading to the bench after his previous timeout.
You wish nothing for the best for him. He's had enough injuries. It's time to get on with his hockey career and stay out of the sick bay. And right here, Toronto has kind of found that slot area that Ottawa might not be closing in on very much. You saw the goal that was scored earlier by Cowan in the slot, and that one right there was close with Robertson wide open again, and Matthews finding it.
And Matthews wins the draw. Klingberg able to redirect it back to him. 34 to Klingberg at the point. And across for Marner, who knocked it down neatly and has that shot deflect out of play.
The one thing that Marner and Matthews will get used to with Klingberg is that the one-timer comes from Marner's side. It's not going to come from Matthews' side. With Riley, it's the opposite. It comes from that side. So they're working on a few little different things that they'll get used to. And you saw the clip earlier that Max showed where those passes that Klingberg were given to Matthews on that dot all the time. So they're going to start getting used to where guys like the puck. Klingberg will figure out, do they like it off their back foot in the middle of their stance? Do they like it center stance, a little forward? He'll figure out all those little nuances, because when the power play's going on, it's got to be precise.
Klingberg with 158 power play points. Here's Bertuzzi in deep. Robertson along the wall. Marner with some room across. Klingberg shot, and Sogard got a piece of that, and Ottawa clears. There's Wall with the Senators changing penalty killers, and into the second minute of this Leaf power play. Marner and Matthews over the line. There's Bertuzzi. He'll flip it in front, and Matthews unable to redirect that. He had an open net, and Thompson may have bothered him a bit on a great feed. Boy, that was an open cage on a brilliant pass. Klingberg now. No shot. Keeping it in is Marner. Sends it across. Matthews back to Marner up high, and he healed that pass away from Klingberg, centered, and it's poked away from Robertson. Another good stick by Sogard, and just a dozen seconds remaining in the power play for Toronto.
And Klingberg heading to the net as he took over the half wall with Marner at the point, and he went to the net just a little too soon as Marner looked for him for that one-timer, but he'd already turned his body towards the net.
Gowan couldn't get by Shabbat. Batherson taken down. Penalty coming up against Kokkonen. A tripping call, and now Ottawa will go on the power play.
I always found it hard. How do you trip somebody when you're right in front of them? But I guess you could do it like that. Training camp is a time to look for chemistry between players, but there's no need for that between number 34 and number 16. These two guys have a ton of chemistry. They know where the other person is on the ice all the time. There's a couple examples from tonight. Here's some better examples from their time together as Leafs. And boy, oh boy, it is such a pleasure to watch these two guys play. They enjoy playing with one another. And they have had some wonderful combo plays. And they treat the fans here on a nightly basis with a ton of excitement. And I'm looking forward to seeing them play again this year.
Now the Senators on the power play, 2 for 4. With Kokkonen in the box for tripping. Chychrun shot, blocked by Giordano. Matherson out there, comes out in front and gloved and held in the blue paint by Wall.
Well, you see a power play yesterday. They go 2 for 4 in that game, 50%. They're using Sanderson on the backside, load up front with 4 forwards. Tonight, a little different. Now you got Chabot and Chychrun, 2 defensemen, working themselves on the power play with the Batherson, Tarasenko line, and that's a little different look.
Batherson with 14 power play goals last year. Chabot across. Tarasenko shot, and it deflects wide. Thomas Chabot back across. Tarasenko fumbles that. Batherson taken out by Giordano. David Kampf in a battle. Vladdy Tarasenko back to Chabot. Chychrun scores. What a rocket by Jacob Chychrun. And it's a 2-goal Ottawa lead once again.
It seems like such a little thing, right? But Tarasenko not turning with the puck and taking 2 steps towards the point before he puts it back there is super important. He gets it here, right back to the point, and that creates space for Chabot to get the puck, turn around, and get it to Chychrun. If he skates up the wall just 2 or 3 steps, that pass to Chabot is not there. Instead, it's low to high, creates space, it gets over to Chychrun. He has an opportunity now to take a split second to pick a spot, and boom, he can let it rip, and he does. And the Senators have opened up a 2-goal lead again with 3:38 to go in the first period.
9 last year for Chychrun. He's had an 18-goal season. And a power play goal for the Senators. That's 3 now in 4 periods of this preseason.
I really believe their power play will be up in the top 5 this year. I do believe that. If Norris is healthy, I think that is a possibility for them.
There's Rafai across. They were 8th last year. That shot deflected it in. And they get one back. Joseph Blandisi with the deflection.
Well, Blandisi was involved in the quick turnaround to Cowan on the breakaway, which I thought was fantastic. He turned around, boom, up the middle. So he's on his game there tonight. Nice job on the forecheck by Blandisi. He goes in, he creates an open for the puck to get turned over, and then he goes to the net. And when you go to the net, good things happen. It's not always pretty. And the shot to the net is a bit high, and it rattles off a couple of people, and then finally into the net. And Niemela, who's had a rough first period, really. He had the turnover, then he got ran over by Pilon maybe about 5 shifts ago. There he gets this one to the net. Good to unload it on the youngster, and it's a nice tip into the net. And the Leafs get one here late in the first period.
27 seconds after the Chychrun power play goal, the Leafs get back to within 1. 16:50 the time of the goal for Blandisi. And a chance there for Joseph. And stopped by Wall.
We nearly had 3 goals in less than a minute here. That was something. Toronto does a great job of striking back quickly, and then Chychrun, who had the goal, just hits Joseph dead up the middle of the ice. Giordano is a little bit slow getting to the middle of the ice. You can't get separated by your partner more than half the ice, or it is really dangerous the way these forwards can fly, and that's a big save by Wall.
Well, Calgary had 10 last night. We might see a lot of goals tonight. 5 already in this opening period.
Well, it was just that kind of Sunday. 70 on my Broncos,
yes.
So it was a tough day on the Broncos yesterday, and
that
a tough
blue
day on the
suit and
Vancouver
orange
Canucks.
tie you were wearing didn't work yesterday.
It didn't manifest into nothing. I got nothing for that. I even had the socks on too.
Joseph knocked down behind the net. Bertuzzi with an outlet. Marner ahead. And Chychrun. But Chychrun with a goal and a terrific pass on that lead feed for Matthew Joseph. Marner got a stick on that, but Chabot gets it deep and gets an Ottawa change.
I think it's such a difference when you join a team mid-season or at the trade deadline at the end of the season. It's way different when you come in and you have a training camp. You're with the team right from the beginning, and that's for Tarasenko and Chychrun going to be what happens for them here in Ottawa. They're going to get it right from the start. And a guy like Bertuzzi, same thing, right?
Simon Bennett, the PA announcer tonight, making the announcement of the Blandisi goal. We want to wish Mike Ross, the usual public address announcer here at Scotiabank, best wishes, and hopefully just under the weather and a quick recovery for Mike as he gets set for the regular season here. So the bookkeeping, Chychrun's goal from Chabot and Tarasenko, but then Blandisi, Easton Cowan's got 2 points in the game, and Nebel of the second assist on the Leafs' second goal. So 70 seconds remaining here in the opening period. Same score right now as it finished yesterday afternoon in the nation's capital. Here's Robertson with under a minute to go. Aberzizi on that off wing, dropped it off. Klingberg chopped it in front, following up. McKee unable to control that bouncing puck. Holmberg along the boards. It slides back to Sogard. And Chabot flips it away, trying to spring Ridley Gregg. He got dumped on the play, and a tripping call is coming up.
Well, in the last 3 shifts, we saw a Joseph breakaway, and we saw Lassie Thompson just miss Ridley Gregg up the middle, and this time they almost got him again, and then Klingberg has to take the penalty. So Ottawa doing a nice job of slicing through the middle of the ice and creating that opening between the Leafs defensemen. And I mentioned it's real imperative in this game now to leave the speed to the outside. You can always protect the inside going to your posts, backing up as a D-man, but if you're too wide apart, it's hard to recover down the middle of the ice. Senators doing a good job opening that up.
Here's a Senator power play once again. Most going with 4 forwards and a defenseman, but it might not surprise anybody if Chabot and Chychrun are back there on the A unit. Here's Chychrun moving it again. Back door, comes across, and Kubalik can't catch. Empty net. Looked like Giordano got a stick on that to save a goal. And a great stop by Wall coming across on that feed to Batherson. And now Austin Matthews 2-on-1 with Marner on the penalty kill, and Marner stopped by Sogard. That would have been something. Matthews, in sort of a debut as a penalty killer, almost sets up a shorthanded goal.
What do they call that? The power kill? You got the star players on the penalty kill. Senators do a really nice job. Chychrun with great vision slides this across to Batherson. He can't find it. Kubalik can't find it. I don't know if Giordano got a piece of that, but then down the other end comes the power of the power kill. Austin Matthews over to Marner, and that's a big save by Sogard. That would have really stung with 0.8 seconds to go if the Leafs would have tied that up shorthand.
So one last face-off in the Ottawa zone, and that'll do it for an eventful opening period. The shots 14-13 in favor of the Senators, and they have a 1-goal lead. 1:22 remaining in the Klingberg penalty. So Ottawa will start period number 2 on the power play. Lots happening in that first period of play. And the Senators with a 1-goal lead. Our first intermission with David Amber and company coming up.
And against the Yankees and look to punch their ticket to the postseason. Our coverage starts at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 3:30 p.m. Pacific on Sportsnet. Mark that in your calendar and mark down October 3rd because that is a major milestone. The Leafs defenseman Mark Giordano, he turns 40 years old, and with Craig Anderson retired, Giordano will enter this season as the oldest player in the National Hockey League. He's made one big change this season. This was last year. He was using black tape. This season, he's switched it up to white tape. He joked that the other day at practice, saying that he thinks with white tape his teammates will see it and maybe pass him the puck more. It looks like it's the Senators players' eyes that are catching that white tape, though. What a defensive play from Mark Giordano, soon to be 40 years old and still going strong for the Maple Leafs. Chris Cuthbert and Gary Galley with the call of the second. Guys,
He's got to remember to get his skate guards on right, though. That's what he tripped over there.
Get that taped up. They went through medicals, and somehow on the cusp of 40 years of age, he grew an inch taller to start this season.
It's supposed to go the opposite, isn't it? You're supposed to shrink.
So we start the second period. Ottawa's on the power play. 15 shots credited to the Senators. Just 5 players registered shots, but Kubalik led the way along with Drake Batherson with 4 apiece. And for the Leafs, more than half of their shots came off the stick of Easton Cowan and Nick Robertson, 4 and 3 respectively. Here's Kubalik, who had a goal and an assist in that first period, sending it in. Tarasenko's got it. Back to Shabbat. Again, Chychrun on the other side on this A power play unit that's deflected wide. Tarasenko off the outside of the goalpost. Now Giordano up with a puck and a chance here to clear. Doesn't do it. Batherson's got the puck. Dishes it off, and Chychrun's shot is deflected off the stick of Giordano. Batherson centers. There's Chychrun. He flipped that high and ends up on the screen.
Kubalik's done a nice job in that bumper spot, but the one thing I've noticed from the Sens power play and the Leafs penalty killing has had to adjust to it is everything's funneling to the net quickly. They're not spending a lot of time moving it around, trying to find spots and get everybody in the right spot. Puck's moving, and then it's going to the net, and they're going to the net. And that's kind of making the penalty killers have to adjust a lot quicker.
23 seconds remaining in the Ottawa power play. Off that face-off. It's controlled by Ottawa. Shabbat put it into the crowd of skates, gets it back again. Holmberg watching him. Chychrun from the corner. Here's Tarasenko. Sends it rink wide. No shot from Chychrun or Shabbat. Tarasenko not shy about firing it. Then that'll ricochet back out to center as Klingberg returns to the ice. Here's a steal. A chance for Nick Robertson. And a toe stopped by Sogard. What a chance for Robertson, who's been noticeable here tonight. And now it's Marner picking it off at the line. Played in deep. Klingberg wired that across the goal mouth, and it will bank back into Toronto ice.
He's a nice job there by Robertson, getting on his horse and getting on the pressure on Shabbat.
And here's a feed from Matthews in front. He was looking for Bertuzzi, who was tied up on the play by Reinhart. It'll come back to Klingberg. Klingberg puts it on goal, and a stick stop by Sogard. And now Lassie Thompson ahead to Cole Reinhart. A couple of years in Belleville for Reinhart, who gets checked, and Matthews starts the other way. As Bertuzzi on the left side, Marner on the right. Back it goes to Matthews. Marner was in front, and the pass broken up by Jacob Larson. Now knocked down by Bertuzzi. Scrambling back to get it. Zach Ostapchuk, the former Vancouver Giant. Now fit ahead at center. Knocked down on the play was Cruikshank. Lead feed onto the left side. Back in comes Blandisi, who has a goal in the game and rimmed the boards. And now Amama trying to catch up with that. Here's Boko Amama centering it in front, and it was knocked off the stick of Pilon. And good play there by Rafai. Lead feed the other way for Blandisi, who can't come up with the puck behind the Ottawa net. Kept in at the line by Rafai. Now played ahead for Amama. He's got Pilon with him. Garrett Pilon with a weak backhand to the side of the Leaf net. Back the other way, Blandisi. It opens up a little bit, 5-on-5 early in the second period. Blandisi from the corner. Puck loose here for Torberg. Tried to feed the point. Now it comes back to Klingberg along with McCabe. Here's Klingberg. No shot yet as Amama tracks him. Now McCabe will fire it deflected. Blandisi a stick on that, and Sogard able to cover up the 5-hole.
Well, sometimes when the penalty power play is just coming to an end, that's when you're the most vulnerable. You let your guard down a bit like Shabbat does there, and Robertson does a great job of stealing it, and he just can't wait out the long legs of Sogard. And there, Niemela, another great pass up to Marner, the quick transition, and the turnarounder right there by Austin Matthews isn't on the tape of Bertuzzi, or that's in the back of the net. And the quick transition of the Leafs, we've seen that quite a few times tonight.
Face off in the Ottawa zone. Camp digging in against Yarventi and wins the draw. That shot will be absorbed by Sogard. But Sheldon Keefe had an interesting comment today about how preseason games are so different for every guy on that team. And you know, it is a lot different for Easton Cowan today than it is for Austin Matthews and Tyler Bertuzzi, Klingberg, and other unique situations as they try to make that first impression they're going to be here. Cowan's trying to make an impression that they remember him.
Well, you got to remember, some guys have a body of work at the National Hockey League level and even at the global level. So everyone kind of knows, you know, what they're going to bring to the table, you know, give or take a percentage of good or bad. But when you're a young player coming in, this is where you get a chance to show that you can play with the big boys. And even though it's preseason, this is your opportunity to stand out, and that's what a few guys have done here tonight.
Easton Cowan in particular, you saw him getting coached up on the bench by Sheldon Keefe, who you got to think is delighted with what he's seen from his 18-year-old. Here's Ryan Reed, tried to play back to the point, couldn't get it there, and then just missed a big check. Thomas Chabot over the line. And that ramps off the stick and well out to play.
And if he drops that to Kubalik and continues to the net, Kubalik has some room to step in and put the puck to the net with Chabot going to the net. But just to kind of end the thought that we were talking about, CC, like for a guy like Cowan, and Keefe is going to coach him because this is building. He's building someone who's going to be in this organization potentially for a long time. So the little things that he learns in this camp right now he's going to take back with him wherever he goes, and that's going to help him improve.
Well, Mitch Marner mentioned where he's going, London, where
very well
you know
coached.
what the Hunters will do with him. Only going to get better. He looks like a prototypical London Knight.
Well, I had the pleasure of playing with Dale in Washington, a fabulous player, and we know he played it from the tips as well. And one of those guys I think should be in the Hall of Fame, to be honest with you. You spend that much in the time in the penalty box and put up that many points, I think you should be in the Hall of Fame.
Here's Robertson up with a puck. He'll feed back to Klingberg. Klingberg takes that shot, and it gets through traffic. Holmberg was parked in front. Now Batherson striding away for Ottawa. Gets a return feed back to Tarasenko. Skipped on him. And a weak shot walkered away by Wall. Tarasenko to the bench. He likely to see some time in the preseason along with Tim Stützle. Although Stützle and Tkachuk looked pretty good yesterday.
I don't know if I'd want to mess with that line with Giroux.
Giroux, yep. There's Reinhardt to the net. A dangerous dash and roll down and able to keep it out. That was a nifty piece of work from the former Brandon Wheat King, Cole Reinhardt.
And the thing for Cole Reinhardt is, yeah, you can look to make a play, and that's what happens sometimes in training camp, is you look to make plays. Instead, Reinhardt realizes he has a lane, he drops his left shoulder, cut right across the front of the net, and take it to the net. And that's exactly what he does. You look for a play in there amongst a couple of defensemen in the back checking forward, and nothing happens. This way here, you take it to the net. It's the right call for Reinhardt, and good on him to drive it in there.
So face off in the Leaf zone. Jake McCabe running through that last play.
I think Wall has a bit of an issue in the crease there. All those bodies going in there, and I think someone, maybe even the back of his skate, dug in there along the goal line and put a little divot in there, and they're going to get some water on it and straighten it out for him.
And Joe Wall with about 4 or 5 minutes remaining in his scheduled outing. Expecting sometime in the middle of the period to see Martin Jones come in to finish up tonight.
I think he'd be down the hallway stretching or something. He's on the bench with his ball cap on, looking relaxed as all get all, and that's...
Yeah, we were told 30-30, but maybe it's going to be like yesterday. It might be a 40-20 split instead. We'll wait and see. But Martin did look comfortable there, didn't he?
He does.
Got by Cruikshank and bounces into Bertuzzi along the boards. Reinhart follows up. Watched by Nivola. Now into Bertuzzi, who takes it away, and an outlet for Marner and Matthews. Back it goes onto the off wing for Tyler Bertuzzi, too far. Shabbat gives it up. It's held in. Bertuzzi pounding the Ottawa defenseman. Finally comes out to center. There's Rafai, and that deflects into the Toronto bench. So 5 goals in the opening period. Still waiting for more scoring here in the second in Toronto.
They frustrated Ryan Reeves after missing a hit along the Leafs bench. We know that Reeves is vocal at times, and when it comes to opponents as well as teammates, he doesn't shy away. He was asked during training camp if he eases into a room. He said, nope, I come in pretty hot. I tend to chirp people right away and gauge their reaction. He will no doubt be amusing for Maple Leafs fans all season long, guys.
Well, he has built a reputation over a number of years, 1,028 penalty minutes, and I was surprised it was that low. In fact, even more surprised that my cohort tonight, Gary Galley, with way more penalty minutes than Ryan Reeves. You were in the 1200s.
Yeah, well, I think Ryan goes a lot of nights where no one bothers him, and that's for good reason, right? So
a different era. In fact, Jean Beliveau has more penalty minutes than Ryan Reeves.
That's a lot
that tells you.
That's a lot of slashing and tripping by me, isn't it? Guys must be going around me.
Dipped in here by Blandisi. Thurberg in behind the net. He's watched by Chikrin. Tucked in the corner for Cowan. Love to have been eavesdropping on that conversation between Keith and Cowan that we watched a few minutes ago.
It's going to be about the little things and learning the Leafs system and their structure, but it's a little things like he can skate, he can shoot, he understands the game of hockey. He's a talented player, he's a first-round player, but it's the little things that you teach a player that make big differences, and that's what Sheldon Keefe's doing. I mean, you can't teach him, you know, a huge moment on the bench, but he can teach him something small, something that he can retain right away and take onto the ice and use.
There's Gregor taking a hit, trying to make a play, but back the other way, Joseph, and the blade came right out of his skate. And now he's going to have trouble getting to the bench, and the Leafs essentially have a man advantage here, and a chance for Nivola. That was blocked. It'll be kept in. The linesman trying to help Joseph get to the bench as Rafai steps up. You see that occasionally, but I don't remember the last time I saw it come out as cleanly as that, unfortunately, for Matthew Joseph. But worked ahead. Kubalik can't clear. Kept in by Matthews, who stepped onto the ice, trying to get it back, and does. And now with control. 34 across, great pass, Marner, and he can't slide it under Sogard, who sits on it when it looked like Marner had beaten Sogard in tight.
Back in the day, you called it, you got a burr on your blade. You got a burr, and the trainers would have to take your skate off, run to the locker room. They'd have to sharpen it. It would take probably 5-6 minutes for them to get back and get your skate. Now they just release these blades, snap new ones in. They're all sharpened. Each player will have 2 or 3 sets of blades. But when it comes out, it's like stepping on a banana peel as we look at Marner, who tries to drag it from his forehand going straight upstairs. He tries to fool Sogard, come back to the backhand and find a hole in between his legs, and it didn't work.
Talking about the chemistry between Matthews and Marner on display there, and Matthews on it again. Looks like the big boys are starting to feel it here in the second period. Marner's got it. Back to the line it goes. McKeeb across for Klingberg. Matthews up high, but that pass broken up by Tarasenko. Now as Matthews lost lead, dropped his stick. Looked like he was having an edge issue as well. Bertuzzi, nice move. Put it on goal, and the rebound got past McCabe. Covering was Marner, puts it back in front. Bertuzzi swings it to Matthews and knocked off his stick. Tyler Bertuzzi on it again. Klingberg's moved up. Played in behind the net. There's Matthews. Bertuzzi knocked down in front. Matthews continues on. Klingberg's moved up. He is bumped. Tries to get it back. Pass in front. That's a good stick by Sogard. And Ottawa clears.
A great shift by the Leafs. The Matthews line, along with Klingberg on the point and McCabe.
Now Robertson across, and that pass just failed to reach Aberzizi, who was loose, and back the other way comes Ottawa. Reinhardt after it with Ostapchuk looking for a loose puck. Rafai and Niemela behind the icing line for Toronto. Back to the point it comes. Jacob Larson puts that right on, and Wall's got it as we pass the midway mark of this second period, and tempers start to flare in front.
Reinhardt threw a good hard right there. I don't think it connected. He unloaded one.
So 9:53 left, second period. Still a 1-goal Ottawa lead.
It's only the second preseason game for the Leafs and the first game for the Matthews line with their newly acquired winger, Tyler Bertuzzi. But you know what? It's looked pretty good. Has it connected? No, it hasn't. It's been a slight bit off as some of the passes, but you know what? The chemistry, you can see it can be there, and it's not going to take much to kind of get it all tightened up once these guys play a few games together. But I like Bertuzzi's puck dogging ability. I like his passing in tight areas, and he is going to help dust out pucks for Marner and Matthews, and that could potentially have some chemistry there as the Leafs take the only penalty on that little gathering in front of the net as Rafai gets a cross-check call, and the Senators will go on the power play here with 9:51 to go in the second period.
Third power play of the game for Ottawa. They're 1 for 2. Noah Gregor will start with David Camp on the kill. And it's Shabbat with Chikrin, Batherson, Tarasenko. And there is Tarasenko over the line. Kupalik, the other member of this power play. And the Leafs with a clear off the stick of David Camp. Power play goal scored by Chikrin. And here's Batherson, who had 14 last year. Get along the board by McCabe. Giordano unable to clear. Glove down by Shabbat. Back to Chikrin. Tarasenko. Chikrin fires, and Martin Jones makes his first stop as the Leafs do split it in half, and Jones comes in during this power play.
I was thinking maybe you leave Jones out till at least the power play's over. He's coming in fresh into the game, right onto the penalty kill. Get in there. Jonesy stop pucks, and he does that. That's a good solid save for the first one from kind of just above the high slot in the middle of the ice by Chikrin. It had some mustard on it, and good save, and he didn't bleed a rebound. So who says you need stretching before you jump into a National Hockey League game?
Brad Treleving said he wanted another goalie with a little gray hair. I don't know if Martin Jones has that, but the experience factor key, of course.
Well, you don't want a goalie who gives you gray hair. That's for sure. There's a difference.
Here's Gannett off the post. Cruikshank was parked in front as the second unit for Ottawa almost strikes. Here's Yarpenti back to the line. That shot is blocked and ends up out of play.
Ridley Gregg tries to unload one. Good shot blocked by the Leafs. Ottawa Senators get good control in the zone, and here's just a shot to the net, and it looks like maybe, I'm not sure if it goes off Cruikshank or not, but it finds its way through and off the iron. Even a shot on net. Goalie's best friend, those red posts.
Martin Jones had a stretch in San Jose, 4 years, 138 wins. Went to the Stanley Cup and was part of a winning team in LA, and then a Stanley Cup finalist in San Jose.
That's what Brad Treliving means by a little bit of gray hair, right? He's seen a lot, he's been through a lot, he's absorbed a lot, good and bad. In a career like that, there's always ups and downs, but he knows what it takes to be successful, and a goalie like that can help you, no doubt, and help his playing mate as well.
There's Yarpenti bumped by McCabe just outside the line, and Giordano takes over and makes sure it gets down the ice. So they've killed the Rafai penalty. He steps back out. Under 8 to go. One shot on that power play, and the post at the end as it rolls back into the Leaf zone. Mikko Kokkonen. Robertson winding up. Sidestep the hit as Reinhart had him lined up. Kokkonen. Back to Niemela. Couple of Finns back on the blue line for the Leafs. And now Boko Amama, who once led the American Hockey League in penalty minutes when playing in Tucson for the Arizona organization. Reinhart again. He's bumped. Crashing in Ostapchuk, but the Leafs come away with the puck. And it's sent out to center ice. Looking for it was Blandisi. Joseph Blandisi back into his own zone. Markham area product, expected to be one of the key members of the Marlies. Chasing after that, and it's played away by Sogard. Nice pass to Ostapchuk. Two-time World Junior member for Team Canada. Great defensive play by Matthews.
And there's that 5-on-5 play that Sheldon Keefe was talking about. How good Austin Matthews is 5-on-5, and there's a great example.
And now Marner puts it to the net, and that'll stick to Sogard.
Molson Leafs hockey on Sportsnet. Brought to you by Molson. Whether it's Canadian, Ultra, Export, or Excel, there's a Molson with your name on it.
Austin Matthews' 200-foot game and his 5-on-5 game is so good. He's a great stick player, and there's a great example of back-checking hard to the danger zone and making good defensive play. It's crazy in a year where you should be talking about how many goals is Austin Matthews going to score. You're coming into training camp. We're talking about him being a penalty killer. That's been the news of the day, is his penalty killing, and yet to be determined, but closely watched.
What do you think of the star player killing penalties?
I like it. I mean, you got Marner on it, and Stützle in Ottawa is on the penalty kill. There's a number of star players who penalty kill. There's nothing odd about that. It's just about how you get it into your team, and Sheldon Keefe has to manage that. When is the best time to put him out? When it's not the best time to put him out?
Beckman weaving into the zone, but lost it. Couldn't get it to the net to Bertuzzi. Giordano, he'll fire it ahead looking for Marner. Skips past him, and that's an icing call against Toronto. And here's Sean.
Well, guys, you were just mentioning star players killing penalties, and Austin Matthews is well aware just the challenge that poses when a star player is out there. Saying the other day, when you go up against guys like Bergeron and Marchand on the PK, it definitely makes you think a little more. Not only are they very good defensively, but also offensively. Added that when you're out there, it forces you to make plays, maybe make a play you wouldn't, knowing that they can knock pucks out of the air and turn it back and go the other way.
Yeah, it's power play anxiety. You have anxiety when you see good players out there that can turn nothing into something, and you got to be more aware of it. I mentioned they call it the power kill now, or something like that, whatever it is, that take away some of the ad-lib of the power play because they're a bit nervous.
Well, they almost scored a shorthanded goal in the first period. Here's a point shot that goes off a skeet in front. Centering play for Tarasenko, who couldn't redirect that. Trying to get into the slot, turns it over, and now the Leafs get on the move. It'll be rolled down the ice.
So often after a big penalty kill, you want to get right back on it 5-on-5. You want your star player out there 5-on-5, so maybe he kills the first 20 seconds, 25 seconds of it, then you get him off so you can get him out there when he's so good on that 5-on-5.
Guess that's one of the questions as it bounces through, and Sogard has to knock it down. Does it mean more minutes for Austin Matthews, or does it mean different minutes?
I think it's managing his minutes. It could add to be a little bit more, but you don't want to overload. There's load management involved there too, right? You want him to have enough jam when the offensive parts of the game where he really contributes has to be there.
Here's Reeves to Camp, a centering pass, and that hit an Ottawa stick and back the other way. Reinhart unable to come up with that as Klingberg disrupted the breakout. Lead feed, it's Gregor handing it off to Camp, looking across, and Reeves sends that high, deflecting. This has kind of been ticketed as a potential fourth line for the Leafs in training camp. Camp Reeves and Gregor.
You've got about 4 or 5 guys that are fighting for maybe a slot. It's tough.
Here's Ambrosisi in slot, and that shot wide by Robertson. Another one of the guys looking for that 1 or 2 spots that might be available. Niemela's shot can't get through. It'll be blocked by Ostapchuk, and Niemela out at center.
Everybody knows the kind of damage the Leafs have done in the regular season and taking a big step in the playoffs last year. They're a team that people believe they're maybe a player or 2 away from being right there for a Stanley Cup, so it's obvious that it's going to be tough to earn a spot on a team like that.
Thomas Chabot trying to get off the ice. He was out there for over 3 minutes. Will be sent back in by Curry. Jones plays it. Niemela fanned on that clearing attempt. Pilon's got it in the corner. Watched by Robertson. Come back to the right point. Gannett across. Larson. That's knocked down by Easton Cowan. Had it knocked off his stick, but following up, it'll be Kokkonen. Ricked wide, and Thorberg lost his footing there, over-skating the puck. It's in for Amama. It was a close play at the line, but doesn't matter now as Cowan with a pass, and Larson broke up that with Blandisi loose in behind the Ottawa blue line. 2.5 to go here in the second. Still 3-2 Ottawa. All the scoring in the first. Jacob Larson hands it off, and it'll be flipped back in by Garrett Pilon. Played in the Washington organization, a few games for the Capitals, and 5 years with the Hershey Bears. Blandisi digging in. An outlet by Järventie, and Dominic Kubalik goes to work. There's Kubalik wrapping it around. Järventie unable to reel that in. It's chipped away, and Tyler Bertuzzi a partial break. And then from a sharp angle, shot wide. Klingberg tried to whip it across, fanned, and look out, back the other way. It's Matthew Joseph with Järventie going to the net. Joseph in deep, trying to center it. Jones down, and he'll cover up. So the Senators continue to hold on to this 1-goal advantage here in Toronto.
Bertuzzi, the recipient of a high stick, I think, not on purpose, but a little bit, a little pitchfork action when you're skating up the ice with going right to left, and right there he clips him right in the mouth, and that was undetected. Should have been a penalty. And the referee's coming over now to have a look at him, saying, I didn't see it. I saw your reaction probably, but I didn't see him hit you. I'm sorry about that, but I just didn't see it. And that happens. Sometimes, a referee will catch something out of the corner of his eye, and referees shouldn't be making calls on things they don't see. And that's the #1 thing. They should never do that. But they sometimes know they missed something, but they just didn't see it.
Kendrick Nicholson with a few words of open communication with Bertuzzi after that play. Ridley Gregg digs in on this face-off against Austin Matthews. And from the draw, Martin Jones had to be sharp on that shot. And another Jones down and unable to cover up. It'll come loose for Chabot. Couple of stops for Jones off a Ridley Gregg face-off win. Now Matthews up ahead, and Bertuzzi finding McCabe through center. 4 Leafs now moving in. It'll be dropped back to Klingberg. Across Matthews, and he couldn't kick that onto his stick. Matthews knocked off balance. Bertuzzi trying to center it. And it doesn't reach Marner. And it flipped away by Tarasenko. Final minute here in the second period. A lead feed. Bertuzzi loose again. Put on the brakes, and Järventie over there to make the check. Here's a pass picked off by Matthews, and a quick shot. It goes wide of the cage. Kept in by Marner. Bertuzzi looking for a tip as Heat parks in front. Austin Matthews. Now Giordano with a half-minute left in the period. A pass across, and that skipped off Kokkonen. And it'll be dumped back out to center ice. Shots 27-26 Toronto as Giordano fires it back in. Reeves off the bench. Following up there is Gregor. He'll play it back to the line. Giordano, it was broken up by Ostapchuk, and he's got time. Back the other way, Zach Ostapchuk following up Joseph, and Martin Jones with a save. And that'll do it for period number 2. So Sogard continues to lead by a goal, and Martin Jones called upon a few times in the 10 minutes or so that he was in that second period. So through 40 minutes, a second preseason game. The first was a 3-2 Ottawa win. 3-2 Ottawa after 2 here. David, Justin, and Elliot coming up with our second intermission. The third, it was 3-2 yesterday. Been a different feel to this game tonight.
Yeah, this game has a little more pace to it. It seems to be a little less mistake-free, although we do see more mistakes than you would in a regular season game. I thought the game yesterday had a little bit of sloppiness to it, especially in the second and third period. This game's been pretty good.
We're trying to decide where a lot of these players might end up, whether it be in the American Hockey League, the NHL, somewhere else. One thing we do know for sure, there is an Ironman in our midst, and we want to congratulate Sean McKenzie, who finished the Ironman triathlon in Mont Tremblant. He swam, biked, and ran more that day than you and I combined all summer. So congratulations.
If you're going to fit into those European suits, you gotta do something in the summer, and the Ironman will do it for you. No, that is serious stuff, and big tip of the cap to Sean. That's awesome.
Appreciate it. I am one and done. No more for me. That's it. That is all.
So 20 athletes on either side, and one at ringside tonight as we start the third period. It'll come back to Jake McCabe across to Klingberg. His shot, and that hit traffic in front of the net. Reeves, Gregor, and Camp out there against the Batherson line, along with Tarasenko and Gregg. Gregg cruising around at center. It's a possible 2-on-1 here. Here's Ridley Gregg with Tarasenko wide. Buddy Tarasenko couldn't get the shot away. Batherson follows in a backhand wide of the net. Lassie Thompson in front, and that's knocked wide off the stick of Batherson. Up with it, McCabe. Klingberg. Back to McCabe. Looks like this is a tandem the Leafs would like to see play together. McCabe with some defensive insulation for the offensive-minded Klingberg. Bertuzzi comes up with a puck. Back to the line now. Giordano trying to sift that through. On the other side, Kokkonen let it go with Bertuzzi chipping it to Matthews, cycling it to Marner. Larson up on him, and Thompson with a lead feed. Out at center, Matthew Joseph pocket pick. There's Matthews, another good defensive play, but Marner unable to corral the puck, and back the other way comes Järventie. He has scored in the game and looked good, and that's a blocker stop by Jones and out.
Well, what makes Matthews so dynamic offensively, we all know about the goals and the passing, but his dogging of the puck and his stick positioning, and he pickpockets you just like that. And I mentioned it yesterday afternoon, we were talking about him, that he's up in those top 5 guys in the league that just steals a lot of pucks. And the fact that he's just working that hard coming back, putting that back pressure on people, that just shows you he's committed to the 200-foot game, and there's no doubt about that. And that's why I think, you know, the coaching staff is comfortable seeing him move to the penalty kill, because he does it 5-on-5, and he will be in the right spots.
Amara, the former Kitchener Ranger, well, might still be a Kitchener Ranger, young defenseman, out on the ice here as it's passed across. Robertson backhand, and that's stopped by Sogard, loose in front. Knocked down there was the defenseman Rafai, and breaking out with the puck is Gannett. Over on the right side, Ostapchuk is checked, and back the other way, Robertson, who's had some dash here. Pass for Abruzzese, catching up to that. Here's Abruzzese in front, and Holberg couldn't take the pass.
Well, on the wrong side. They got him on his backhand as opposed to in his forehand. If that's on his forehand, that's hitting the 20. And on his backhand, he had to take a stab at it. He couldn't really control it.
Here's McCabe back to Niemela, who will regroup in his own zone. Out comes Blandisi, who has a goal along with Easton Cowan. Blandisi over the line, Cowan across, trying to find Turberg. He'll hand it off to Blandisi. And that pass out of the reach of Klingberg. They'll have to go back to get it. had a glitch in the league scoring. Well, first the turnover here, and a shot by Mama going wide of the net. Elon back to Chychrun, lets that fly wide. I say the glitch took away the assist on the Blandisi goal. You don't want to take a point away from young Easton Cowan on a night the way he's playing, but it has been reinstated. There's a shot, post, but not in. What a blast that was. Then it comes back to Shabbat, who let it fly. Batherson. Here's Batherson, and that's gloved and held by Jones.
It's a couple of pucks that have hit that left post and out of harm's way. Robertson, one of those guys that certainly is fighting for a spot that could be available, and these are the kind of things that you love to see, the skating, the net drive, and you'd like to see him find a way to get one in the back of the net. It would go a long way. And there's Shabbat cruising down the left side, just snaps one that catches the far post and keeps his score at 3-2.
Boy, that pairing has a couple of shooters, doesn't it?
You know, and Shabbat can just munch heavy minutes. I mean, he's the kind of guy that it doesn't matter how many minutes he's playing, he skates effortlessly. You know, it's different if you make more mistakes, maybe if you're playing too much, but he seems to handle the minutes really well. And a guy like Chychrun can do it too. So it's a good pair.
Just checking with that in mind, what the minute total's already over 21 minutes for Shabbat. Here comes Matthews. He's got Bertuzzi with him, but unable to get it across. Broken up by Larson. Tarasenko dumps it inside the Leaf line. Greg tying up Niemela. In to help out was Rafai, and Niemela comes away with the puck. Here's Bertuzzi near the end of a shift, and he'll get rid of it down the ice and get to the bench. Nice draw weight, keeps the play alive. And now Shabbat to Chychrun. And through center to the attack, it's Yarventi. Back to Shabbat. Jacob Chychrun across in the slot, and Kubalik couldn't pull the trigger. And Chychrun trying to change the angle against Reeves. Shabbat's on the move. Reeves took a high stick. Penalty coming up against Chychrun, and the Leafs will get a power play just shy of the 5-minute mark here in the third.
Well, Chychrun goes over right away. He says, sorry about that. And Reeves, one of the few guys not wearing a face shield. And again, as he tries to pull his stick up and over, he clips him. And accidental, nonetheless, a penalty. And the Senators have all that pressure going on the Toronto end. And then you take the penalty, and it just kind of releases it all now. And down 3-2, the Toronto Maple Leafs will have an opportunity here to see if they can't get this thing knotted up at threes. Jacob Chychrun in the box for high stick.
Third power play for the Leafs, 1 for 2. The power play goal by Cowan.
It's looked pretty good. I mean, the puck is moving around. They've had some opportunities. I think Bertuzzi looks good on it. Robertson's looked good on it. We haven't seen Klingberg back scratch one yet, but this may be a good time for it.
Klingberg has been credited with 5 shots. Surprises me. There's a pass for Marner, and rejected by Larson. Marner to Bertuzzi. Pass out of the reach of Matthews. Bertuzzi is trying to come up with it. Ridley Gregg hands it off, and Ottawa gets a clear. Don't know if any of those shots came on the power play for Klingberg.
Well, I don't recall him letting one really rip from the middle of the ice. We've seen a lot of passes off to the half wall, similar to what we'd see Morgan Riley do. And part of having Klingberg there is he's a guy who can rip it pretty good from that center defense spot, the QB spot.
There he is, being challenged there by Reinhart. Sends it deep. Marner behind the net, looking for Bertuzzi. Swung back for Klingberg. There's Klingberg shooting. That went through. A rebound, and Gannett with the clear.
Good job by Reinhart. When it goes back to Klingberg, he doesn't skate straight at him. He takes an arc on the inside to stop Klingberg from passing the puck over for the one-timer. He forces Klingberg to stay down that right side of the ice.
Marner trying to charge through. Robertson after it as well. Shabbat comes up with the puck, and he'll send it 200 feet. So the second unit that had registered the power play goal comes on for Toronto. Niemela leads them up and slings it back. It'll be Gregor. Holmberg jolted along the boards. And that one fired right back down the ice.
Well, pretty good penalty killing by the Ottawa Senators. Every time they get a chance to jump on a loose puck, they're on top of it, and it's 200 feet down the ice. Toronto spent a lot of this power play entering the zone.
Gregor can't take that pass. Maybe a chance here for Reinhart. Short-handed. He's in, and a stop there by Martin Jones. Probably the best chance on the power play. I'm short-handed, and now the penalty is done. Cowan across. There's Gregor, and he got knocked down in a collision with Järventie. Back the other way comes Ottawa. Pass out of the reach of Chychrun, who came out of the box. Abruzzese drops it back, and here's Giordano. Niemel up center. Cowan off him to Camp. Easton Cowan with the goal and an assist. Finds Blandisi, is shot, and the rebound is knocked wide after Sogard made the initial save. Camp is tied up. Blandisi on it. Reeves out there now as Cowan got to the bench. Kokkonen rolls it through for Blandisi. Cycling it for David Camp. Signed a 4-year deal in the offseason. It's Kokkonen, a shot with Reeves parked in front. Sent back to the line for Giordano. Here's Kokkonen. Camp. Reeves. Batherson there for the Senators. Kept alive by Mikko Kokkonen. Giordano tied up by Tarasenko. Kokkonen there in close support. David Camp. Extended zone time for the Leafs. Kokkonen moves to the front of the net. It comes across for Giordano in the slot, and Kokkonen healed that wide. Blandisi back to Giordano. Fans want a shot, and Giordano does oblige, and it ricochets back to center.
I don't understand why one of the Leaf defensemen didn't move that stick out of the way. You don't have to fire it down the ice, but there's no one going to pick it up. You just slowly move it outside the blue line so you don't. It's not blocking your lane to pass. It was in the way 3 or 4 times on that shift. It's a penalty if you shoot it away from someone, but if it's broken and you're just moving it, it's different.
There's Marner creating a turnover. Matthews' shot rejected. Marner sweeps it across for Bertuzzi. Leafs are starting to pick up the pace here as we approach 9 minutes of the third. Bertuzzi and Marner dig it out, but the Senators there, and now Boko Amama back into Toronto territory. Klingberg sweeps it across for Matthews. Tyler Bertuzzi. Marner back towards Bertuzzi. Didn't reach Matthews, who looked like he had a lane on the left side. Now Matthews looking to get off, and he'll hand it off, and McCabe gets it deep to get that change underway. So it remains a 1-goal Ottawa lead. A short-handed chance for Reinhart. Well, it's back to work for a lot of people at Scotiabank, ushers, attendants, and we wanted to send out a special congratulations to Craig Palfrey, who's been the visiting room attendant at Maple Leaf Gardens or here at Scotiabank for over 50 years. He begins his 51st year of manning the visiting room, and there's Vladdy Tarasenko showing you how important a job he does. Much appreciated. Over 2,000 games, started in 73, 74. He thought the first game was with the Buffalo Sabres and Gilbert Perreault, so he's been around a long time.
Well, there's something about being a visiting player when you come into a city, and something, the normalcy of seeing a person that you see every single time, it just makes you feel good. And they're all around the National Hockey League, guys who are committed and been around doing that job for a long time. Remember Doc in Montreal?
Yep. Doc had a tracksuit for every different team.
He was awesome.
In the league.
I remember missing the team bus. I thought in the practice, I thought it was at the Forum, and it wasn't. It was at the practice rink in Brossard. And if it wasn't for Doc getting me a cab and getting me going in my rookie year, I don't know if I could have found it. But it was, you know, those guys have been around a long time, and like I mentioned to you, it's almost like a normalcy. You come in, you feel good. He's in the right place, and he's always there, and as he's supposed to be. That's the way it's supposed to work in Toronto.
And he didn't want us catching him sitting on the job there. So that's okay. After 51 years, Greg, he can have a seat for a while. But just walking through the hallways here at Scotiabank, a lot of the folks haven't seen each other for a few months, and everybody excited to be back to work here in Toronto. And I'm sure every wink across the league.
For sure. You know, that's part of being a player in the National Hockey League. You know, you go into these visiting rinks, you like to sit in the same seat. You know, there's all these little, you know, nuances that you like to do. That should make you comfortable to play the game. And sometimes it's just people you see, people that work on the training rooms from the other teams that you show up for. They're there every year and do a great job.
From the draw, the Leafs get control. We pass the midway mark of the third. A lead pass, and it'll be rolled in by Coconut, charging after it. Nick Robertson's played with a lot of energy here tonight. Now Ambrosisi trying to spin away from a check. Giordano going to let that rip. It hits somebody en route. There's Robertson in the corner once again. Hamara on him, and Greg will bank it out to center ice. Ambrosisi one-hands it back into the Toronto zone. Now trying to move through center, unable to do so. Leafs were in the midst of a change. Batherson trying to flip it ahead. Here's Angus Crookshank. And a shot rejected there on a block by Coconut. Up ahead it goes, and Easton Cowan might have a step. Here's Cowan charging in. Rebound in front after Sogard made the stop on another chance for the rookie. That shot ripped wide by Rafai. Cowan from the corner, watched by Larson. Senators up with it, and they'll dump it to center, but another moment for Easton Cowan. And he comes back into the zone. He'll leave it there. It'll come across to Rafai. Marshall Rafai in deep behind the net. Landisi's got it. Takes a look. Nivola with a shot right on. Good stop by Sogard. That's one area Topi Nimola's been working on, the shot, and he got that one away in a hurry.
Well, Cowan's had himself a game thus far, and just the little things. Watch this pass. He doesn't try to cradle it. He tips it. He tips it by Lassie Thompson. He doesn't try to handle it and slow himself down. Tip it by the guy, then keep your feet moving. And he catches Thompson trying to come across laterally. He can't catch and match the speed. And if not for Crookshank coming across, he's all alone. That's just showing what he does best. Kick those legs, kick those heels together, and he is gone. He has showed us speed, touch, scoring ability, and he's maneuvered himself around the ice in his first preseason game pretty good.
Be interesting to hear the comments of Sheldon Keefe about number 53 in a Toronto debut, albeit preseason. Here's McCabe, Marner, Matthews, unable to make contact on that. Now, while I qualify it, you qualified to me earlier, when you're starting out in the league and you score in the preseason, it's special.
Oh, for sure it is. I mean, you put the sweater on, doesn't, you know, preseason. You know, people are watching you, people are evaluating you, and this is the time to let them know that you're getting ready to play here, and this time will come.
Well, we talked about the 18-year-old in his first game in Toronto. How about John Klingberg? What have you seen from him tonight, the veteran defenseman?
Well, kind of what you'd expect from John Klingberg. I mean, he's with a new team. I think he's been pretty good. His passing and his vision on the ice defensively. Like, everyone talks about, well, defensively. He's not inept defensively. This is a guy who's played at a high level of the National Hockey League a long time. Everyone's just penciling in #1 on the power play. He has a lot to offer completely through the whole game in different, you know, different parts of it, whether it's power play, penalty killing, 5-on-5. He will bring a lot. He will help the Leafs from the back end.
And here he is now, sending it across. That shot blocked as Shabbat in the shooting lane, and McCabe couldn't get it through. 6 shots in the game for Klingberg. 1 hit, 1 block shot. And the shots right now 35-34 in favor of Toronto. Chychrun onto the right side. Here's Batherson. Spun off McCabe, gave it away, and it's a 2-on-1. Marner takes a look, got McCabe, fires, and a pad stop. Great stop by Sogard, and the Senators clear it down the ice. Jones out and lost it to Gregg. Getting back is Klingberg. Ridley Gregg stays with it. What a chance that was to tie it, and now a shot fired by Thompson. Marner up with the rebound. Here's Giordano leading the rush. Matthews looked across for Bertuzzi, and that was broken up. Giordano centers, and a good stick there by Sogard. With Bertuzzi alone in front. Austin Matthews gloved down on an eye-high shot by Mads Sogard.
What a great job by McCabe. When the play enters the Toronto zone, he doesn't just back off when Batherson jams the brakes on. He stands up, he forces him. Thompson goes through to the net. And as the pass looks like it's going to go across the rink to Larson, that's where you step up and you steal it. And that's exactly what Marner did. He read right off of McCabe standing up. He took away the ice, took away the path to the pass, created a great opportunity for himself.
Sent back down into the Ottawa zone. 6:06 left here in the third. Kokkonen for Cowan. Feeds the line. It's kept in by Giordano. Flips towards the front of the net. And that banked off Shabbat. And Cowan will wind it up through center. Kid's feeling it. Back in. Centers it. And knocked down on the play was Blandisi in the slot. Thomas Shabbat and Jacob Chychrun out at center ice, and here's Reinhart chipping it in against Kokkonen. Last goal was scored at 16:50 of the third period, and it's been 3-2 ever since. Difference in the game right now is a goal on the power play by Chychrun. Made it 3-1. Blandisi closed the gap, but the Leafs have yet to equalize. Here comes Noah Gregor. Cycling it for Reeves. Back to the line, Niebela. Marshall Rafai shooting it off target. Niebela moves up. Buffeted in behind the Ottawa net. Nice move there by Gregor, and Niebela unable to convert in front. Nice play by Gregor, has got it again. Hands it off to Niebela. In front, and Reeves can't deflect that through. Another good chip for Camp, Gregor, and Reeves here in the third period.
Gregor's been really good tonight as well. I mean, he hasn't got any goals or anything like that, but he helped set up that one in the slot.
Back in, the Leafs invade, but that's offside on that stretch pass to Abruzzese. Ryan Reeves with a chance on the doorstep after a terrific shift for that line, and they shot by Niebela.
As I mentioned, there's nothing like getting the start right from the beginning with your team. They came in late in the year last year, and I think everyone got a real look at how important he was going to be to this Ottawa Senators team moving forward and trying to get themselves into the playoffs. And he has looked really good tonight. He has the one goal, just getting a look at his great release, but his stick work down low. He's a big, strong guy. And he has settled himself in the Ottawa area. Of course, he's got family in the Ottawa area. His dad played his hockey in Nepean growing up before he turned professional. His grandfather there, and he's moved and settled in. And his sister's now living in Ottawa as well, so a bit of a homecoming for him and a real comfortability in the Ottawa area. Makes it easy to step out and play hockey, you know. You feel at home.
4 shots, 5 block shots in the game for Chychrun. Just hoping for a healthy season. He's had wrist problems, an ACL injury.
Used to run defense camps in Ottawa. Luke Richardson and I would run these camps. Dave Ellett, Jim Kite. We had Jacob out one summer, and he started him out at his normal age with the Pee-wees. By the end of the week, he was with the midgets. He was that good.
Here's Robertson weaving in. He got tripped on the play, no call, and back the other way. Batherson will send it in. Jones out of the net to try and knock that down. McKee to Klingberg. Chychrun over 25 minutes. Shabbat over 26. Are you surprised it's that high?
I think that DJ Smith is trying to give these guys exactly what they're going to be getting in the regular season. I mean, they're going to play a lot of minutes, and they might as well start it right now. Get them used to it, and they've handled it pretty good.
Interference call coming up. Blandisi got tied up with Greg, and it's Blandisi who'll get the gate with 3:11 to go.
Yeah, a tough time to take a penalty, and Blandisi knows it with 3:11 to go, down a goal. You'll remember in the game yesterday afternoon, it was Bailey, I think it was, with the ill-advised pass across. They ended up taking a penalty, and then final minute, 6-on-4, and Toronto had a number of good chances to tie that game. And now the Ottawa Senators will have a chance to put this out of reach. And
very few teams will use two defensemen on their A power play unit. And Ottawa may not, but they certainly have an enticing option. There's Chychrun firing another. Stopped by Jones and Kemp. Out there with Gregor, and Chychrun able to get back and recover.
Well, you see, Austin Matthews doesn't come out to kill this penalty, and I'm wondering if this is one of those times Keefe will hold him off the penalty kill, because they're going to need the offense out of him coming up. But again, he's on the ice, so certainly taking the chance.
Here's Chychrun with it. Back across Shabbat. Chychrun again lets it go. That one's walked in front by Giordano. Well, they might be thinking offense here. The other thought might be kill the penalty, and you've got the goalie out and Matthews fresh for the final minute.
A minute and 11 seconds, right? So yeah, he's out here killing this one.
Just over 2 minutes to go. Weaving in is Joseph. Around it goes, and Reiner's going to try and get there ahead of Matthews, who was able to turn it to Marner, but still in the Leaf zone. Kokkonen chops it away. Ridley Gregg against Matthews, and there's Matthews with a good stick, and Marner will clear, and those two now go off, and we'll get about 50 seconds, and we'll probably come back as soon as.
Yeah, don't extend it if you don't have to. Get off, get ready to go now. You're going to need a goal coming down that last minute and 11 seconds like we talked about. So no sense extending the penalty killing shift. Get off, get some fresh bodies on, get some rest.
Final 20 seconds of the power play. Thompson rink wide. Tarasenko unable to come up with that. Gerventi trying to get it back. Gregor will clear. And there's Shabbat. And Chychrun checking back in to protect the one-goal lead. As returning to the ice, Blandisi. So the Leafs back at even strength, and we'll be watching for an opportunity for Martin Jones to head to the bench for an extra attacker. So final minute. Klingberg waiting for the change. Out comes Matthews, Robertson, Marner, Bertuzzi, and Jones headed to the bench as Klingberg gets it deep. Robertson gives chase. Around it goes, nobody covering, and it'll come all the way back into the Leaf zone. Here's Bertuzzi, and he gets pulled down, and that'll lead to a penalty with 30 seconds to go. Ridley Gregg drew the penalty to Blandisi, but now they'll take one.
Molson Leafs hockey on Sportsnet. Brought to you by Molson. Whether it's Canadian, Ultra, Export, or Excel, there's a Molson with your name on it.
Similar to yesterday afternoon, the Maple Leafs are going to have a chance. 30 seconds as Ridley Gregg. I mean, this is up ice too. You don't want to take a penalty there. I get it if you're trying to thwart a scoring chance, but late in the game. But this is up ice and everyone in position. You didn't have to take that one for sure, but I think Sheldon Keefe is possibly going to take a timeout here again, and 29 seconds to go, but I think the referees come over and Sheldon Keefe is having a word with them.
I thought they already took a timeout, didn't they?
Yeah, earlier, but as we look at the Jacob Chychrun shot, and here he's trying to direct Shabbat over, and he's going to come back to the middle, but I don't think Shabbat saw him or wasn't paying attention. And that's often what will happen if you get caught up the ice. You'll tell your partner to move over to your side, and you will catch up to the inside guy. and take that away.
So it is a Leaf timeout. They didn't take one earlier. Jack Capuano out with the grease board for defensive responsibilities, while the former head coach of the Ottawa Senators will try and draw up a game-tying goal for Toronto.
Well, the referee skated by and said something to Sheldon Keefe, and he didn't look too happy about it. And at that moment, I think that's when they decided to officially call the timeout. You're trying to steal as much time as you can before you actually take the timeout. So they had players in the face-off circle and everything down at to the right of Sogard. So that bought them a little time, and then they called the timeout. But 29 seconds is enough time to get this set up for the Leafs. They'll have 6 attackers on the ice against the Senators 4, and we'll see if the Leafs can solve Matt Sogard.
Leafs have won 72% of the draws in this game. Another with control off the face-off win by Matthews. It'll be Cowan down. Lovarder in front. Sogard with a brilliant stop off Matthews as they got the setup exactly what they were looking for.
Doesn't get much better than that. Everything but depositing it in the net. You get the draw, even though you don't win the draw. Bertuzzi does a great job of tracking it down. Klingberg cruises along the line, draws the Senators over, and then it's bang, bang across. And Sogard is good for it.
And Matthews wins another draw. 12 seconds to go. Klingberg across. Down low it goes, Matthews. Klingberg shooting. In front, Marner scores with 4.9 left. The Leafs have tied it.
An ill-advised penalty late, and the Maple Leafs power play looked pretty good. Traffic in front by Bertuzzi. It comes down to Austin Matthews, and he lays it right in the wheelhouse of Klingberg. He doesn't get a lot on it, but he gets enough on it that Sogard can't handle it. And when it hits him, it drops over and to the skate, to the stick, and that is pretty neat to see a guy that in tight to stop it and have the confidence on a rolling puck to chip that over the top of Sogard. And Marner, with 4.9 seconds, ties this thing up at 3s. And a real good-looking power play and a 6-on-4 with the goalie pulled for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
9 power play goals for Marner last year. He has a game-tying goal here in the preseason at 19:54. We'll get some bonus hockey tonight.
Set up Matthews to the left of the net, and then of course you got one-timer with the right shot from Klingberg, and that sets up the goal.
So we'll be back with overtime, 3-3 through 3 in Toronto. Of the 6 goals scored in the first period.
Oh, a turnover there, and the Senators take advantage of it, and Järventie gets on the board and gets the Senators on the board 1-0, and then quickly it was Joseph Delassie Thompson. He lets this thing go. Kubalik in front of the net gets a stick on it. It was quickly 2-0. The Leafs come back on a nice bang-bang pass play, and Cowan does a nice job of depositing that into the back of the net. Chychrun comes down, scores a goal for the Ottawa Senators, power play goal, and right shortly thereafter, Blandisi is going to have this one glance off of him. And we're 3-2 into the last 30 seconds of the period, and literally the last 4.9 seconds, and the Leafs with the goaltender pulled found a way to get this one to the net on a puck from Klingberg. And a fortuitous bounce onto the skate of Marner, who puts it to his stick and deposits it in the back of the net. And now we got a little 3-on-3 action here.
And Austin Matthews gets control for the Leafs. That's his 18th face-off win of the game. He is 18-4 in the face-off circle tonight. That he's got the puck now and goes to the attack, working against Batherson, and Sogard will hook that away. Shabbat plays it away from Matthews, and now Batherson's loose. He'll drop it off to Tarasenko, knocked down by McCabe. Batherson to Shabbat. 15 points against Toronto, 22 league games. Kubalik out there now waiting for a change, and Matthews has time to get to the bench for Toronto, and out comes Cowan. Swinging wide here is Joseph, slowed up by Klingberg. After it goes Gregor, so Cowan and Gregor out there for, or excuse me, it's Marner, but it's Easton Cowan on the move. Swinging wide on Chychrun. He'll take a lap and then get knocked off his stick, and he's got to get back in a hurry against Chychrun. Puck loose, and here's Chychrun in front, and Jones able to hit that just out of control for Chychrun. Now Kubalik, and he blows a tire, and Klingberg gets it out to center. Klingberg tripped up and now getting back into the play. Cruikshank now for Ottawa. Third change for the Senators. It's Järventie moving in. He opened the scoring in the game. Roby Järventie twisting and turning, being watched by Klingberg. Gregor out there now. And a pass backhand, and that hit the crossbar. What a backhand by Cruikshank. He's got it again and missed the target. Back for Shabbat. Cruikshank knocked off his stick. Following up, and there's another post. Batherson hits middle. Drake Batherson again. Leafs exhausted players out there, and Shabbat tipped that over the net. Cowan and Gregor come up with it, and the Leafs need a change. Here's Easton Cowan working it back. He'll get off. Fresh troops, much needed, and out comes Robertson and Bertuzzi. Nick Robertson over the line with Bertuzzi. Klingberg's gone to the bench, and checking in is Jake McCabe.
Well, he was out of gas. It was good on him to stay out and regroup it.
Here's Bertuzzi, got a good bounce and a chance in front, and then bumped into Sogard, knocking the mask off, and that will halt play.
Well, a hat trick of chances for the Ottawa Senators at the other end. Cowan trying to get it turned on the top of the blue line. Chychrun pokes it off his stick, and then Cowan moves it up the wall, but Joseph knows that Chychrun is underneath him, so he throws it down. And then how about this one? Cruikshank backhand off the top of the post. And then Batherson comes in, tries to go straight upstairs over the glove side. And he catches a bit of the iron as well as Bertuzzi cuts to the net. Can't quite get it from his backhand to his forehand. Sogard's mask comes dislodged, and they'll shut the play down right there.
So it's Matthews and Marner out again against Greg and Joseph. Matthews trying to slide it through, broken up by Greg, and Jacob Chychrun will take over. He had an overtime goal here a couple of years back for Arizona. Chychrun with it. Greg to Chychrun. McCabe closing down the shooting lane. Now Marner looking for a steal, and Matthews comes up with it. Matthews back the other way, challenging Joseph, spinning, and he fired that just wide, and back the other way goes Greg. Giordano trying to get back. Greg fumbled the puck a little bit. Shot, scores! Chychrun on the rebound, and the Ottawa Senators win it in overtime.
Jacob Chychrun all over the ice in this overtime, and he gets his second of the game and a game winner on a nice play from Ridley Gregg. But Austin Matthews had the puck on his stick at the Senators' end, and a turnaround shot, that little spinner after a great defensive play at the other end. He spins on Joseph, and you can see he missed it by a good 2-3 feet. And then Ridley Gregg grabs that puck on the miss, and he spins at the blue line, turns around. I guess the question would be, did he have control when he crossed the blue line? And when he loses the puck, does he get over first? I think it's good. And as he has a look, he just shoots it to the net. It's kind of a pad pass, right? He can't get the puck to Chychrun, so put it low on the pads and hope for a rebound, and it worked out. Chychrun pops it into the back of the net.
Chychrun with his second of the night, plays over 30 minutes. Time now for the Molson 3 stars, so the game winner ensures that Jacob Chychrun's the first star tonight. What a first game it was for Easton Cowan on home ice, and Mads Sogard was terrific, following up on a great performance yesterday by Anton Forsberg. And Korpisalo expected to play the next game for Ottawa on Wednesday. So back-to-back games between the Battle of Ontario combatants and both one-goal decisions in favor of the Ottawa Senators. This one going to overtime. Chychrun with the pair in a victory for Ottawa. Their next game against Montreal. The Leafs will be in St. Thomas to play Buffalo on Wednesday. We'll see you there. For now, here comes Canada Vaca and Sportsnet Central.